Carolyn of 7MM, president of Clark County Amateur Radio Club. Welcome. This is our 11th meeting of the year. Next year is next month is the Christmas party. I hope you all can come. It's also the second Friday of the month. So I think that's the 8th. I think the 8th is in December. Anyway, our speaker today is Tom Barton, WB7TZD. And I am wondering, do we have any new hams or any new club members here? Nobody, huh? Okay. How about license upgrades? What did you get? Let me come to, there he goes.
I got extra. She told me to get extra at the previous meetings. And I did.
All right. Congratulations.
My new call sign is AI7TK.
All right. You know, did you get that call sign strictly because you want to make sure everybody knows you're an extra?
No, I just wanted a one less letter in my call sign.
When I got my call sign, I really liked my 2-3 call sign, but I decided, man, if I'm putting all the time into this studying, I'm going to make sure everybody knows that I'm an extra.
I had 2 Z's in my previous call sign, and so it was nice to get an A. So.
All right. Congratulations. And your son?
General with 100%.
Can you say that again? I can't hear you.
I passed general with 100%.
All right.
My call sign is Kilo Juliet 7 Alpha Golf Quebec.
Congratulations. That's a big accomplishment. Any awards or certifications? Not this time. Okay. Dave Snyder. What? Okay. It's going to be here.
Oh, come on.
Yes. Yes. Where's Dave Snyder? You want to introduce our speaker?
Tom Barton has been working with our digital group for quite a while, since before I got here, but that hasn't been that long. And so he is wanting to share some of his newly earned knowledge, I guess, about WinLink. And so he'll be presenting on WinLink for Dummies. And I'm one of those. I don't know much about it. So I hope it proves. Are you around, Tom? Come on down. Welcome, Tom.
Thank you. Yep, I'm Tom Tango Lulu Delta. And yes, there is 3 M's in dummy. Copyright rules. So hopefully that's the only error in the presentation. So anyhow, what I'm going to talk about a little bit about WinLink and Wave Talkers. And you jumped past my 3 steps. Right. WinLink introduction, setting up an account, examples of WinLink,
Sheila,
Wave Talkers, and a WinLink weekly exercise. And then after this, there should be page number 3, which that is. And it's supposed to say introduction and 1. And the thing I learned in distributive education back in high school, to get a point across, you have to say it 3 times. So the next 2 slides should be 2. And the next slide has, 3. Now, if I'd have been a little better with PowerPoint, which this is my first presentation with PowerPoint. And boy, did it kick my backside. I would have liked to put, yes. Page 5. Yeah. Good question. You thought you were going to throw me there. Yeah. So, okay. So, oh, another thing I've done is you don't have to take notes because I have printed up the notes. So, you can take those home with you tonight. It just hits the highlights of what I'll be talking about. And so, okay, we'll go into the next slide. This one, this is where I'm going to say, you know the story about the dog that ate your homework. Okay. Well, I was planning to have my computer, my everything, and tie it in and that, and be able to actually run WinLink via Vara here locally. I have this adorable little kitty. She loves sitting on my computer, and she knocked it off the TV tray onto the floor. And so it's at home going through automatic repair, or preparing for automatic repair. I got a feeling my hard drive is probably crashed. So I was planning to actually go into WinLink and bring some stuff up. So can't do all that, but the other item I'm going to talk about is the wave talkers. And but down here in the lower right-hand corner, this is not to be insulting of anybody, because I realize we got people in the room and on Zoom who are from what is WinLink to the other end of the spectrum, and can think about something they want WinLink to do, and it does it. So there's 3 things I've come up with. Number 1 is I didn't know WinLink could do that. Number 2 is I knew WinLink could do that, but I forgot how to do it. And then number 3 is the presentation that the Chris and Dave and Dan give. They interject things that work for them down in Southern California. And of course, they're supporting 80 hospitals. But some of the things they suggest may work up here in the Pacific Northwest. So I'm in hopes that those that are in the position to evaluate that would keep an open mind that maybe that'll work, maybe it won't. Just a suggestion. And there's a presentation coming up from Scott, NS7C, and Michael Barnhart. I asked him a question, who's our EC. He sent me a PowerPoint presentation from Scott, and I turned around and sent Scott a letter asking for permission to use his PowerPoint. And he said, yes, I can do that as long as I give credit due. Credit is due. So, but between Scott's PowerPoint and now his PowerPoint is 56 pages long. And if we went through every page and did a minute, you're talking about an hour's presentation. And I'm only going to do at most maybe 30 minutes here. So we're going to step through that. But the thing is, that PowerPoint presentation, if you send me an email, I can send it to you. And he does an excellent job. It's his latest and greatest. And so between the Wave Talkers, their presentation is on YouTube. Plus they do a new show every Sunday, 1 o'clock local time. If you go in and look at their back, as a matter of fact, this last Sunday, they celebrated their 2 years of doing Wave Talkers. they were only going to do 4 episodes. That was 2 years ago. And they're so my thoughts are between Wave Talkers, Scott's PowerPoint, local Elmers, and through the digital group, we should be able to get anybody up and on the air. And I'm in hopes that everybody who's a ham gets a WinLink account. So I think we'll just go into the next slide. And this black presentation is Scott's. So we can just step through that real quickly. So this is something that I can load to or send to you, and then you can take the time to go through it. And if we want to just step through them there, Dave. Yeah. By the way, one of the things WinLink is an email server, but it's kind of unique. Is it's connected to several servers that mirror each other, but they're located in different places in the world. So theoretically, if a disaster happened one place and it took out one of the servers, the other 4, I think it's 5 that they have, would keep running. And it was set up for maritime, and everybody's kind of jumped onto the bandwagon and using it. If you don't have an RF setup from your home, you can use it over the internet through the telnet portion. And so it's we can just keep stepping through. Okay. Don't know for sure. What he's talking about is the FCC is having a meeting the 15th of this month, and they may vote or they may just discuss it. I don't know.
I can address that, Tom, if you like.
Oh, can you? Yeah, go ahead.
So the FCC has gone past the comment period. It sounds like it's in the action period. Basically, what the old rules said, you had symbol rate. The new rules, it's going to be 2.8 kilohertz bandwidth, regardless of what mode you use. And so you can use any signaling method you want that fits in 2.8 kilohertz. And it's not clear to me when the effective date will be, but it looks like it'll be sometime in March that the FCC will make it official. But according to the ARRL bulletin this week, it sounds like it's basically a done deal, just waiting for the final action. So that's been almost 8 years in coming.
Yeah. And I understand Pactor 4, which is not legal right at the moment, will become legal when that happens, as long as it stays in that 2.8 kilohertz.
Yeah, it will fit in there. Pactor 4 has some other issues because it's proprietary and not in the public domain. And so there's that lawsuit should be settled because of this new rulemaking.
Yeah.
There's actually 3 lawsuits right now. WinLink's involved in one, Pactor 4 is involved in another, and then there's another guy suing everybody. Surprise, no. But those lawsuits are what really prompted the FCC to reconsider the rulemaking on this. And when this rulemaking is done in March, the administrative law judge is probably going to dismiss those other lawsuits, is what we expect.
The
Delvin, you had
the other thing with the Pactor 4 modem, it's about a $1,500 bill. So yeah, Elvin.
just a theory that after the FCC makes the commission makes a decision, it likely has to go into the Federal Register for 90 days. And so that would put it close to March. And without that delay, it won't happen.
The other thing is that people have been using these modes for the last 5 or 6 years, and it's a question of enforcement. You know, it's like telling your kid not to do that, and you know he's going to go right ahead and do it. There's a little bit of that out there in this regard too.
Well, the other thing too, the FCC gave a waiver for the last hurricane to waive the symbol rate and for that. So yeah, it's kind of writings on the wall. Why waive a rule in the law? Just change it and make it usable. Okay, so let's continue on. Like I said, we can step through these. These are something that you can sit down and read. Plus, with the Wave Talkers YouTube presentations, which I had my computer up and running, I could have gone into to the WinLink page, and in there they just had on 10/19 we had a earthquake. We had I don't know. Well, I think it was out of polarization. Anyhow, we had a
Oh, you're ready.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hit me with a blunt instrument. Okay. So anyhow, there's if you go to the WinLink, there's a presentation up there, a button you push, and it brings up a YouTube of the actual YouTube event that they or the Zoom event that they performed on 10/19. The one that's really interesting is that was a Thursday. The following Sunday, they did a presentation. It was kind of the after action report. That one is really worth seeing because they take all the data from 1,533 entries that went to the GS, the people that measures shake, rattle, and roll. Right? USGS, thank you. And so out of that data, they go through and did a lot of statistic analysis. And that one is really one of the capabilities they have, which I wanted to be able to demonstrate. It's in Scott's presentation, is you can bring up a map, and each one of these positions, assuming they have good lat and long information, can be plotted on a map. And there's all sorts of filters and what have you. So you can go through and the different criterias that was sent in, you can target each of those criteria and see what's going on. And I understand we've got, what is it, over 3,000 amateur radio operators that are licensed in Clark County. And the club is what, about 300 people. If we had 300 reports of an event locally, do you have telephone? Do you have power? Do you have water? Do you go through and answer all these questions? Then that information at CRESA could then be manipulated by those that would like to exercise that or massage that data. And the utility people would know where they have power outages, the gas people would know where they don't have gas at. And so all that information could be tabulated. So this is talking about sound cards using between your computer and your radio. if you have one of the modern radios that has a built-in sound card, you're good to go for the most part, with the exception of the ASU 991A has got a problem. It'll do VARA narrow, but I don't think it'll do VARA wide. There's a bandwidth problem in the, oh, is it the other way around? Okay. So, but by using an external sound card, and had I brought in mine, I bought one of the little DigiRig sound cards. It's only about yay big. And the nice thing about it is all the adjustments are inside the computer on sliders. Those two that they're showing there, or that one, is got variable pots or pots inside. Yeah, but the problem with that is you can use them, but if your computer goes, you've got mail or ding or dong or any of those, that'll go out over the air. So you still use your internal sound card on your computer as the default, but you set the programs up to go to the external sound card. And Scott talks about things things that I haven't even used yet or thought about. I've downloaded VARA, paid for the license. Now I paid $69 for the license. That allows me as a lifetime license for VARA FM, VARA HF. They have a satellite version, but we don't have a satellite in this quadrant that we can talk to with it. So, and I don't have that type of equipment. So my ICOM 7100 allows me to do VARA FM as well as VARA HF. I was hoping to demonstrate that at the last digital meeting. I drive the Subaru that's got the antenna farm attached to it. And I had tuned up all my resonators to the antenna analyzer and finally put the radio in, went to turn it on, and nothing would tune up. Took the analyzer, all my resonators are not where I put them. And so what I think has happened is the balls that are on the top of the little whips have gotten caught by a tree or whatever, and they have pulled out of the position I had set them. Haven't pulled out and fallen on the ground. So I just made arrangements today to pick up a screwdriver antenna. So I'm going to replace that whole thing with a screwdriver. So yeah, we can just keep stepping through these. Now, one of the things I'm surprised, see where it says, please denote, and he's got a registration key in there. That's what you pay bucks for to get that number. And I guess there's, what is the WinLink? Buying a registration. I bought one of those too. I forget what I paid for it. I want to say $45. But I'm surprised that he's kept the numbers in there, that he didn't black them out. It's a one-time fee. Now I understand that, was it WinLink or is it Vera? One of them, they had a individual license for one price and a multiple license for another price. And the multiple license was cheaper than the individual price, I think. I could be wrong on that. So. And Scott goes through and is explaining here pretty good. He's not the only one, I'm sure, that's got a presentation out there, but Michael turned me on to his, and I I think with 56 pages, it covers the subject material very well. So we can keep stepping through. That's what the WinLink page looks like when you open it up. There is, when you go to winlink.org's webpage, there's a place to check to start, and then it'll walk you through how to set your account up and get your, we'll set your password. Back when I did it, if I remember right, I had to send a copy of my FCC license to them. And then they sent me back my code. I guess it's changed now. I'm not sure. I haven't done it. So, it's a very powerful software package. If you have a uranium satellite phone, there's a cable you can get that'll plug into your sat phone, into your computer, and you can send your WinLink traffic via your sat phone. One of the things it does is it's got a whole boatload of preforms in there. ICS, FEMA, the weather, and that. You go in and double click on the form, and it'll bring it up into your browser. And then you fill the information in, and then it takes all that metadata and puts it into the email message. It does not send the entire form because the receiving station has the same form. When it gets to the receiving station, it can come up in that form. You can send it to a printer, and that to whoever you're working for in the form type that they want. So this is talking about we're running on a telnet session, which if you have one of the things that if you're at an EOC or a major facility, hospital, whatever, if you lose internet, it should only be a temporary loss. They should have at least one backup system, maybe Starlink, or maybe a couple of different backups. If you can get, once they get the telnet back up and going, if you're going to be sending a lot of traffic and or expect to be receiving a lot of traffic, you really want to use the telnet. Because if you're on an RF link, whether it be VHF, UHF, or HF, it's going to take a while to transfer a lot of data. So, but if all you have is an RF link, then you have to use what you got. Oh, this is if I had brought my radio, I've got the radio, sound modem, and a TNC all mounted on a board. This is a software package called Sound Modem, and it replaces the TNC. You can do inside your computer what the TNC does. So you can set the software up so that an RMS station, local station that you'll be transmitting to, they can run either VARA or packet if they're set their system up on a given frequency, on the same frequency, but not at the same time. Because packet, if it's packet racket back and forth, the VARA doesn't understand that, and the VARA will break the connection. The packet will get through, but the VARA won't. But one of the things, I don't know if we're working towards having multiple capability, or if the package system is kind of going to a back burner. and the virus system and or whatever next is going to be coming, and because there are some other stuff on the horizon. We'll just have to see how that is when it gets here. Probably be another license you have to buy. This is something I've not worked with. I know with the TNC, you can put it in calibrate mode. You can go in and adjust your high and low tones. I'm suspecting this is doing something with that software, making sure your tones are where they're supposed to be, but I've never worked with that, so I can't speak about it with any authority. And this is your sound card set up inside your computer. Like I said, you want to be able to have an external sound card, whether that be built into your radio or it is an external little box, which could be a signal link, could be the I get those initials. Is it SD? Not SD. The dash 50. DRA 50. That's a sound modem. The WinLink, which I got, and this is getting into some timing. Those that need to go in and tweak and tune would understand this. For the most part, things should be a plug and play unless Murphy is working that day. And you really shouldn't have to go in to make any adjustments here, but this is an explanation of where the delays and that come in. Basically, your computer doesn't want to start sending characters. It's going to send a command to push to talk, but you want the transmitter to get into transmit mode before the characters and the data starts coming. You drop a bit or two, and computer language just doesn't work well. That's a system where you're looking for RMS stations used under the mode that you're using. And the ECOM and public, that's when you set yours up, you can list what, if you have a preference for one or the other, or you put both of them. I don't know if it will show. I know I've got mine set to both, and so he's talking about the FF and the FQ symbols there, indicating that that was a good message. That things go through, and it also says down there message sent 1, message received 0. It's like the third and fourth line from the bottom. It'll tell you how much time it took to and at what baud rate or what byte per minute rate you were transferring that data. Information is good to know, but it doesn't do much for you. And that looks like the other thing with WinLink is you generate a message. You send the message to the WinLink server, goes in on those 5 computers. I think they're 5, those servers. And then the party who comes in picks that message up and it erases it from all the servers. But it's a message to message, or it's a message from the originator to the destination. It is not keyboard to keyboard. There are other programs that will use that. There's a part of this which it says select peer to peer up just above the call sign up there, right under where it says a packet WinLink session. peer-to-peer is you're still generating a message. You have a designated computer that you want to send that message to without going through the servers. And but it is not keyboard to keyboard. It is allows you to send a local message if you're within UHF or VHF or HF range of the designated station that you want to talk to. You can set up a peer-to-peer message. This is something that I don't know if we have that drawn here locally yet, or if that's a work in progress. If you denote if I remember, the blue solid is the UHF link. What's the dash one's alternate path, and then the red is VHF. And then if you look up into the different blocks, well, it'll tell you what mountains they are. This is all down in Southern California. And this represents both packet and VARA information in there. What baud rate, what frequencies, and who can talk to who. So if you can talk to, say, the station in the lower right-hand station, you wanted to get up to the upper left-hand corner, you can send a message and the system can route it to where it needs to go. But the thing is, you as the operator need to know what you can do and what you can't do. So SLO is, look that up. Yes, thank you. Yeah, Matt. Basically, what is it? Just I looked it up on my tablet. It was just north of Bakersfield. It was Bakersfield just north of it. Yeah. Okay, this is a scripts. You can go in and set scripts up so that when you make a connection, it can do all the automatically connecting to the other nodes. If I've never used the scripts back in one heyday, back when our packet system, you could get on and packet node to node to node and really go northeast, southwest from here. But unfortunately, those systems don't exist anymore. So go into the next one. Okay, that's a C stands for connect. TASS is a node. And once you get into that, you want to connect. The C2 AE6EQ-7. If I understand things right, that's connecting port 2 to the call sign AE6EQ-7. And then when you get into there, you connect, and then it'll transfer your file to that system. And that last script, you can't scroll down the page, but this is what the first part of it connecting from one node to another node, what it would see. Okay, packet TNC setup. There's a lot of different TNCs that are already pre-programmed in there. You can go in and where it says TNC type, that's a drop-down window. You can find your model number, Antronics, MFJ, and other TNCX, and you can select that. That way you don't have to go in and tickle all the right numbers. They're already there for you. And if Murphy's not working, and you know your port number and you set all that up, you should be able to talk to it. You can run using the same computer. You could run a UHF port and a VHF port or an HF port. But the thing that gets to be the problem is you now have a dedicated computer and or computers to dedicated equipment. So if you want to go over and play with your expensive toy, it's tied up being an RMS system. And so you either have to go out and buy a second toy, and which I can't think of anything wrong with that. That's why we have HRO so close. There's a signal link. The signal links themselves, if you open them up, the older signal links will have 2 red transformers in them. I don't know if there's any other circuitry difference from one board to the other. The newer ones will have black transformers. The ones with the red would not be good at 9600. The black transformers will work at 9600 baud. I don't know of any other changes in it. I think it's the same price. What he's showing there is the signal link has the adjustable volume levels on the front of the little box. The dash 50 down there, those adjustments are those little blue resistors, variable pots. The dash 50, if you're going to marry that up with one radio, then having those internal adjustments is not a pain in the backside. But if you were to have to marry that to different radios, that could be a problem. Might not. You know, one setting might be close, no matter what radio you go to. That's and then of course my signal link, all I do is just change my sliders inside the computer. Yeah.
That DRA modems, you can get card that fits right in a single signal link chassis with adjustments on the outside.
Oh, okay.
So you can adjust it. So if you use it in VHF, UHF, you can adjust it.
Yeah. Now the one nice thing I like about that little digi rig that I bought the USB cable that goes to it that they recommend, and then I bought the cable that plugs into it, that plugs into the Yaesu radio. I've got that 11 pin on the back of my Yaesu. Plus shipping was $96. And I got it in a couple, 3 days. Now, I did have a learning curve. Is I plugged that into my first laptop, went to device manager. It said under the sound cards, yeah, there's something out there, but there was no port number. So then I plugged it into my second laptop. It too saw that there was a device out there under the sound devices, but again, no port number. So I figured, oh, what the heck? So I plugged it into my third laptop. It come up with a port number and was happy. So what that told me is I needed to go back to the manufacturer, which is documented, and load their driver into those 2 computers. And they come up and was happy, gave me a port number and that. So again, expect Murphy to, you know, plug and play would have been nice, but also it was a learning curve, and I learned from it, pass on, that if you don't come up with a port number, you have to go and load the driver. ARDOP. I don't think we have that around here yet. So hopefully, now wasn't that part of that system up on the mountain that we lost? No? Okay. And, oh, okay. I know we had that, was it 5 GHz system up there that, I don't know if this is a 5. I've not used this. I think Phil Marquez has some information on it. And it may be something coming in the future. We'll just have to see. I'm understanding the equipment for it is pretty reasonable. This is on the HF channel selection. The colored chart on the right. Well, first of all, it looks at your lat long, and then it'll come up with distance from you and further away. And then what it's doing is looking at the propagation for the band and the frequencies over on the left-hand column. They're just after the call sign. And so green is good, yellow is marginal, and of course red is probably a no joy. Yeah. That's what the VARA window looks like, and the setup screen on there. There's, okay, you put in your call sign. If you bought a registration key, you put that in the spot next to it. If you don't buy the registration key, you can still use the software. It just won't do 2 things. It won't run the fast mode, and it won't digipeat. The next block down, call sign, would be your oh, I think I'm wrong. It looks like you can set up for multiple call signs. There's a window in one of them where in VARA FM where you can put in a digipeat call sign. And generally it's your call sign with a -5 or -4. And it's talked about how to come about that. It gets back to the APRS days, kind of using the codes they used. That is under sound card. And when you load it up, and if you've unplugged anything and plugged it back in, this will most likely change, and you'll have to go back in and select your sound card. Now, one of the things you can see up there, somebody's gone in and named that a DRA. What is that? 70D. These glasses aren't worth a darn. Anyhow, one of the things you have to watch is when Microsoft sends you an update, it can go in and change the name of the sound card that you've set up. So anytime you get an update from Microsoft, expect to be shot in the foot. And then there's a calibration procedure you can go in, and I don't think he shows that, but when you get it up and running, one of the things you want to do is set your levels and get your calibration. And then again, if you change location, that's going to change. You may have to up your volumes, you may have to bring them down, or you may have to select another RMS station to get to. You just comes with experience in that, and probably a few choice words under your breath. I'm not going to get into the windows here. The guys on Wave Talkers explain that pretty great. That pattern in that window there, each of those dots represents a sound bit or byte or whatever. And the thing that VARA does, if you know what packet, it has a low tone and a high tone. Vara has many tones. And that's how it's able to pass the information faster because it's tickling more little tones. And now with the symbol rate being changed, who knows what's going to come down with the bars. This is talking about the forms in there. Some of them, you double click on the forms and they'll bring it up in your browser. You go through, you fill in all the information, you submit it, and it takes all that metadata, puts it into your message, and then you post that to the outbox, excuse me. And then when you either automatically or manually initiate a connection, it will then send that message. And if there's anything out there waiting for you, it'll receive it. That's one of the message forms that comes up in your browser. That's just a general message, and ICS was the 213, I think that was. That's what, yeah, 213. You fill in all the blocks, then when you submit it, it'll come up in the next frame in your message. All the information is there. It tells it what type of form to look for. And so when this metadata gets to the receiving station, it'll plug that back into the form. That's all the different, well, that's just a very small sample of all the different forms that are available. There's there's a category, if I had my system up and running, that are Washington forms. There's a form that Gary Tegas had submitted and had been accepted, and it's a WinLink, no, not WinLink, no, iWarn summary report. And what that report would do is allow whoever the net control of the iWarn net be able to go in, fill that information out, and be able to send it to CASA or whoever you wanted to send it to. I've got a print out of the form, James, I wanted to show you afterwards. There's actually 3 forms that I wanted to show. That was one. There's 2 other forms. I've got the other one here, and then the third one, I can't remember what it is. When I said you could map the stations, the data that you got, that's an example of it. Take your mouse, go over the pin, and then the appropriate information pops up as to who that is, where they're located. And now on the shakeout summary report, when you bring up the map of the world, and there's 1,533 of those little pins all across the country. And you can go in, and I zoomed down into Clark County. There was Brian, myself, and 2 other that were local that were participating on that exercise. But anybody could have participated from home using the telnet function. So perhaps next year we can make that more of a local event. We'll just see. We just got to get through the snow before we can think about all the good warm things to do next summer. That list I'm not familiar with. General Form 309, PDF message report. Okay, I'm not familiar with a lot of the ICS forms. Those that of you that are in Aries.
That form is generated when you do a bunch of WinLink transactions. That's your message log.
Oh,
So that,
okay.
that
Oh,
becomes your,
309. Yeah,
your
okay.
message log.
Now I remember. Yeah, I've heard him talk about the 309 being a message log. Thank you. And it says that message log. Told you these glasses aren't working. Conclusion. Scott's got his conclusions there. Like I said, this presentation of his, just send me an email and I'll send you a copy of it. It's, what was it, 8 or 9 megabytes big?
I didn't even look.
Yeah.
If you'd like, Tom, I have WinLink loaded up on here. I could send a sample message real quick so
Oh,
people
that'd
see
be
the
great.
interface. So this is the basic interface. It looks a lot like anyone's email. You can see your sent items that you've sent. You can see items you saved, if any, deleted items if you had some. And so it turns out this is my call sign. I'm just going to create a new message. Don't. What's the question? That's Outbox, not Outlook.
Yeah.
It's an Outbox. So it's just like, but it is actually like your Outbox and Outlook. It's exactly.
So I'm not the only one in the room with bad glasses.
So I'm going to send a message to A7CLL and just do a simple test. Put the body of the message in here.
Send us a pizza.
Hello to myself. Okay,
Oh,
so
what-
just a real simple message.
One thing you can't do is to send yourself a message. Now, what you can do,
That is true.
one of the things you can do is send a message to your regular email account. And then from there, you can forward it back to a WinLink.
Yeah.
That's how I transfer files from one computer to another one.
So for example, I could, just do a semicolon, WZ 8T.
Oh, also, there's a way to set this up that you can go in and send text messages to people's phone. 2 things you need to know, of course. Number 1 is their phone number, and number 2 is who their carrier is. Because
That's an SMS message, and that's a whole
yeah, it's a
ball-
whole nother
whole nother
ball of wax, but it is
All right.
doable.
So here's your simple email. When I'm all done, I post it to the outbox right here. And then I can open a session.
If you notice it over on the left-hand side where it says outbox, that has increment to 1 now. It was 0.
So here's my session all set up for Telnet. I just hit start. It's connecting to the servers and it should have sent a message. Yep, there it is. And when it's all done, it's ready to go. Now what I'm going to do is through magic, I'm going to change which call sign I'm working on. I'm having a hard time reading that. Yep. So now what I can do is I can open another session. And now I should be able to get my message that I just sent. So now it shows up in my inbox. So Dave is asking, is there any notification? So you can set this up in a variety of ways. So like when we're at the EOC, we set it up so it checks your mailbox every 8 or 9 minutes. And so that way it'll actually go through and grab them. Because when we're busy doing radio traffic on on the repeaters, and we just have this running on a computer in the EOC, and we go and check it periodically. To give you an idea, the last exercise, Gary Gerhardt and myself handled just under 60 pieces of traffic on WinLink between the two of us using this. And that was in about 2.5 hours. Yeah, and actually we took part in a statewide exercise plus the local areas exercise all at the same time. We were busy, and we still BS'd a lot, so it wasn't too bad.
Now, one of the
Gary is very effective.
one of the things the non-Aries people could do, like in my case, I could set my system up on Vara FM, and those that needed to digipede through me to get to somebody else peer to peer could do that. So that's always something where the non-Aries people can assist.
I won't run through it entirely, but I'm going to show you one of the templates. Let's go select the template. We were talking about the did you feel it exercise
Yeah.
when Tom was talking about the let's see.
Under USGS up a little bit out there. And there's a German version, a
Yeah,
Spanish
it's the
version.
bottom one, right?
Yeah. Correct. Double click that.
Now, what it does is it launches a web browser to actually do all this in. So give me a second. I have to drag it over to that screen. It pre-filled in. It's an exercise. Did you feel it? You say yes. It goes through and asks you a whole slew of questions. Where were you during the earthquake? It goes through and you make stuff up for the exercise. And you'll notice it actually filled in the who's it's going to. It'll actually send it automatically to the USGA. For part of the drill we did, we actually sent it to the federal stations, the FEMA stations, the ETO stations here in Washington.
Yeah, once all this metadata is put into the file, the new message file, you can go in there in the CC line and add the information as to who else you want it to go to.
So there's a whole ton of cool features in WinLink. One of the things you can do is you can send a WinLink message to the server. It will collect from the National Weather Service a local forecast and send it back to you. So if you don't have a local forecast means and you're out in the middle of nowhere, WinLink will actually do that. I'm not going to actually send this form, so I'm going to X out of it. But you can actually do. There are hundreds of forms. They're very useful.
One of the things on the forms, you had 3 categories there. If you generate a form yourself, put it under your call sign. If you put it under the general field, when WinLink does an update, it'll overwrite that and you'll lose your form. But if you put it in your category, then it's there. That doesn't get touched when it does an update. And if you got everything tickled right, when you bring WinLink up, if there's a update waiting, it'll download it immediately. You'll see a little window come up that it's loading. Then the window will disappear and then it'll come back and it's ready to go. So, but there's a box in the setup you have to check, make sure it does that. So there's some sources. That's Scott's webpage there. Yeah, there's some sources of their training. I went into it. It was kind of confusing. I couldn't find the program I was looking for very easily. So that's why I said, just send me an email and I'll send you this PowerPoint presentation. And we got about what, 3 or 4 more. Okay, that's Scott. And like I said, I was going to give him credit. And so I gave him credit at the beginning and credit at the end. Plus I was learning how to take a page. Instead of printing it, I saved it as PDF, file name, and took that file and put it into my presentation, which was all new territory for me. This is Chris. He's with the Wave Talkers group. If you go into the Wave Talkers webpage there, there's a bunch of resources in that whole thing. Just experiment around. There's down at the bottom, there's join us. Go into that page and put in your call sign and your name and that. Chris sends out one email a week for their upcoming Sunday broadcast. And if you go into the YouTube, their back presentations, they're talking about the broadcast being at 2:00 in the afternoon on Sunday. Well, they found out that the guys on the East Coast, when you've been an hour or two into a Zoom meeting, it's their dinner time. So they bumped it up to 1:00. But in the email, it will give you that information as to, and the other one is buy us a coffee. If you find their information useful and you want to support them, a coffee's $5. I think they get it at Starbucks. But anyhow, you can set up and buy. Now, this is some call signs of weekly exercises that these folks do, that I participate in, and I'm sure there is a whole bunch more out there. It gives you the ability to exercise your wind link muscle every week. And that old saying, you don't use it, you lose it. They're primarily looking for you to go RF, but if you don't have RF and all you've got is wind or Telnet, everybody's perfectly happy with that. And it is a great resource. The WinLink Wednesday group is zeroing on peer-to-peer exercises instead of going through the RMS system. And any questions? Okay, oh, yeah. Let's see, lots of hair. No,
Your question was, what's the initial cost?
yeah. Let me think. To start the WinLink account without buying a registration key was no charge. Buy the registration key is okay. Yeah, thank you. $24. Yeah. Yeah. The VARA is what's that? $69. No, you need that to run VARA at full speed and be able to digipede through it. Yeah, the VARA is, you can talk to the system via packet if you have a TNC. Those systems still are around and not do VARA, but VARA in the same given time frame will send more traffic because it's tickling several tones instead of a high-low tone like packet would do. Yeah, the other thing is to do a packet digipede, all you need is a TNC and a radio. Plug it into the car on your battery or your battery in your car, and you have a digipeater sitting out there. To do a VARA digipeater, you have to have a computer running. And I'm going to be looking at, there's some little mini PCs about the size of a hockey puck that run off 12 volts. And I'm going to be looking at that, and they're about $99. If you're going to be doing Zoom and that, then you want the $300+ ones. But if you're going to be doing this, or you want a RMS station set up at your home on the side, and one of those little hockey puck mini computers is the cat's meow. So there was a couple other questions.
When you upgrade VARA, all right, you get the advantage of the high speed, but not only that, you get to be able to set it up in Digipeater, okay? When you do that, your only restriction is the limitations to your computer, all right? You can run multiples of different DRA cards, okay? I run two. I got a 50 and a 36 running on a 991, okay? They will run on a 991, but you have to use an external card, okay? But that's the advantage of upgrading, not just the speed, but it has a lot of extras that are thrown in on that for that 69 bucks. It all comes down to what you want to do with it, okay? Now, we're pretty limited on what we're using it for Aries right now, but I'm hoping that'll build into something later on. But the advantages to the VARA over the 1200 bit modem is tremendous. It's supersonic. So I just wanted to throw that in there. If you look at the DRA cards, that's on masterscommunications.com. You can look at their cards and they have different configurations for whatever radios you got. Just kind of what he was talking about,
Right.
way his setup is. Okay.
Yeah, I
Now
ordered.
the disadvantage to the Masters cards, the DRAs, is the internal adjustments. If you put it on one radio, running FM or running HF, it's adjust and go. Okay. If you want to run it on like a 991 where you're using it on a FM as well as HF, then you have to set it up for actually get one that has adjustable knobs on it, exterior knobs, where you can adjust the settings on it. That's kind of the easiest way. I bought a 36 first, so I had the internal adjustments. But when I bought the HF version, I got the 50 and it has external adjustments on it. So I like that much better than what Tom's going with, because you get the advantage of adjusting those settings on the computer, but it doesn't do HF. So, it just comes down to what you want to do with it.
Okay. Well, anything else? If not, oh, one more. Basically, yeah, the thing. Okay. He's asking about the registration of WinLink and the registration of VARA. Yeah. 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 You don't have to buy the registration key for WinLink. They keep popping up a little message every time you go into it, asking for it. If it is a good service that you like, and that, then by supporting the guys that write the software and that, then urge you to buy the key. The other interesting thing is on that Wave Talkers group that I participate on Sunday afternoons. Mr. Witten, anyhow, several of the development team for the WinLink is on that. So if you have a question at the end, you wanted to ask the WinLink developers, the people that know are on that Zoom chat on Sunday. And I put a suggestion in, they haven't incorporated it. When you bring up the map, I said to put a crosshair on it. So you zoom the crosshair over where you want to, and then as you zoom in, you don't have to readjust the map that much. But they haven't implemented that, but they might not. So, okay, I think if that's going to be it, like I said, I've got the notes here. You're certainly welcome to them. I printed 40 of them, and we'll turn it back over to Barbara, excuse me, to Marilyn.
Thank you, Tom. That was, I've always wondered about WinLink. I don't know anything about it. I do now, and it's something I've been wanting to do. So, it's the one thing I love about amateur radio. There is so much that you can get involved in. Anybody that can't find something of interest is really not trying. It was just a week or two ago that we had Delvin Button got a group of members that went up to Kiwanis Park in Battleground and taught Cub Scouts. Well, Cub Scouts, I don't know what the girls that are in Cub Scouts are called, but there's girls now in Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts. Yeah, and anyway, there was a whole group of kids out there. Dan, my husband was there, Tom was there, Delvin, of course, and the McGrady's were there, Bob Hardwick was there. And I don't know if there were others of you there or not, but they taught these kids how to use the radios. And these kids had a ball, even the girls. I mean, they were out just talking away to each other. At first, they didn't want to participate. So they would just say hi. And my Dan, who had these girls that he was dealing with, he's going, come on, start talking. And before you knew it, he had to grab the radios away from them because they were talking so much. So these kids got really interested in it. Yeah. See, there you go. There you go. And now you've got WinLink, something else. This in the next couple of months, I'm going to be learning how to contact satellites, and I'm going to be building an antenna. I already built an antenna at CPAC last year, and the darn thing works. And I'm going to be building another one out of a tape measure, a metal tape measure. There's a thing on YouTube I watched last night, and I got all excited about it. Anyway, there is so much to do. All you have to go on YouTube, plug in amateur radio. You would be amazed what's there. Anyway, I guess we need to move on. Dave Snyder, the Christmas party. You want to give some information on that?
Thank you. And I agree wholeheartedly with Marilyn about there is so much out there. You just, I mean, I find myself watching more YouTube videos than my granddaughter now. That's saying something. Anyway, the Christmas party, next meeting is going to be the Christmas party. And first of all, for the Christmas party, I would like to encourage everyone, if possible, to wear some Christmassy attire, the old ugly sweater or fancy hat, or if you have a Santa suit even, I'd like to encourage that. Dress up a little bit. And let's see, I wrote myself some notes here if I could find them. Okay, it's going to start at the same, the regular meeting time. And we're gonna, well, it's still in the planning stages. Tentatively, I am thinking I would like to have it be a bit of a small potluck treat, not a dinner, just Christmas treats. If everybody could bring just a little plate of cookies or make something, or that would be nice for the stuff. And of course, we'll provide some coffee and punch or hot chocolate or something like that with it. And I would be happy to entertain anybody who would like to volunteer to maybe help come a little bit early, like a half hour or so, and we could get things set up. We're going to be setting up some tables, and we'll have a few sort of decorations and try and make it festive in here. I need glasses too. Oh, let's see. What else did I say? Oh, and we have some entertainment. Okay. Paul and April are going to provide musical entertainment. But if there is anyone else that has any kind of a talent, read a poem, tell a story, or anything like that, come on up. We'll look for volunteers. We'll take jokes. We'll take, a little stand up, a little, any songs, anything you want to do like that. So contact me. I'm in the green book, Dave Snyder, K7DES. That's the main things. There's gonna be raffle tickets, and we'll give away the poinsettias, and there may be even some donated items I don't know if we have any more ARRL publications or anything from the junk pile that we want to pass out, but we'll get raffled. There'll be a raffle ticket, and we'll have drawings for that. Yes.
We've had a long history of white elephant exchanges at Christmas, and we decided to focus on the Toys for Tots. So that's where we shifted to a couple years ago. Some of the white elephant things are pretty interesting.
Yeah, we have Paula and April are going to bring in their keyboard and providing some, but if somebody wants to do a solo on their own, yeah. Yes, Paul.
April has worked on the songbooks. So now they have a table of contents with page numbers and songs listed and all of that kind of stuff. So this time you won't have to try to guess what song is where in the books. She's done a really nice job. She spent a lot of time taking care of it. So when we come for the Christmas party, we will bring the box of songbooks, all nicely done. And April did a really good job on those.
Well, thank you, and be sure and thank April for us. So we'll look forward to seeing that. And well, any questions? He did mention Toys for Tots. It's going to be mentioned next. You want me to talk about that, or
Sure,
does
go ahead.
Toby, you want to talk about
Go
that?
ahead.
Okay, Toys for Tots. As you probably know, it's the Marine Corps League's sponsors of and they're gonna have. They'd like you to bring to the Christmas party an unwrapped new toy. They want them unwrapped because they take them and sort them appropriate, so they give appropriate age gifts to appropriate age kids and everything, and bring it into the meeting. There'll be a barrel outside for the Legion's collection of Toys for Tots, but this is going to be the club's donation. So bring it into the meeting. We'll put it on a table in the back, and just an unwrapped new toy that some kid would like. Anything you want, the Lamborghini or whatever. Hey, Sue. Well, yeah, you could do something like that too, I guess, if you want.
If you're at all got questions, the Toys for Tot website has some guidelines there you can look at if you got questions about what's appropriate to buy.
So are there any other questions about the Christmas party? Come dressed, come ready with some snacks, and be prepared to sing a little bit. And if you have anything else you'd like to share, like we could use a dramatic reading of The Night Before Christmas, or, whatever, you sing a song, or anyway, and if nothing else, just bring yourself. We're all just going to be here to chat, have a good time, eat some snacks, sing some songs, and should be a good time. Any further questions? Well, thank you very much.
And if you don't want to fork out a whole lot of money for an ugly sweater, go to Goodwill. That's where I got mine. And they've got a whole collection of them. They're all different sizes. Surplus sales, Dave.
As many of you may know, the club benefited from a very large donation from a Silent Key up in Ridgefield about a month and a half ago. When they said, come and get this stuff, the club can have it, I was a little optimistic. It's turned out to be a lot of work. Now, the good news is we've already put a lot of money into the club coffers selling some of the stuff that was donated. I still have a 10 by 15-foot storage unit extra that we rented for a few months, full of this stuff. I have been working diligently a few hours a day to try to get the pictures and the descriptions put together so we can get them up like our regular surplus storage. But there's a mix of some really cool antique stuff if you guys want to collect. There's some original Collins, a KWS-1 and the appropriate equipment that's worth about $6,000. I've got them on there for about $5,000 or $4,000. We have a 3-element stepper. It's up there for $3,500. That's really the biggest item. That's why I had to have the 15-foot storage unit, because it's diagonal in the storage unit corner to corner, because that's the only way I could get it in there. So I'd really like to sell that, and we vacate that storage unit. Vacuum capacitors, edge wound inductors, all sorts of stuff. Get the key for me. Just to give you an idea what some of this antique stuff, we got a ICOM 746. I've got Viking matchboxes in there. That's the KWS-1. It's supposed to be a legal limit amplifier and transmitter. I think it's a little beyond the legal limit. Mr. Collins made some very good equipment. And this was one of his first pieces that really was commercially available. So back to you, Marilyn. Again, one final
Go
thing.
ahead.
The field day radios were added to the standard surplus sale. We have 2 FT450s and 2 ICOM 7200s for sale at pretty decent prices. We're selling those so we can buy new radios for field day. I think we've sort of decided on what radio we're going to get. I think we're looking at the Yaesu FT DX10s, right? So that's the committee and opinions more or less decided on that. So we're going to watch for good prices. So we're looking at buying 5 of those to replace the other radios. So that should be very nice to have the same radio across the board, and we won't have the external tuners, and it'll just simplify everything. Just so those are for sale. They're on the club website. Please take a look. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. New members, Judith.
Actually, it should be membership renewals. New members do get the rest of this year and all of next year. But it's time to renew your membership if you haven't already. You need to do it by December 15th if you want to vote in the elections coming up for next year. I've closed down my computer for tonight, but we'll take membership renewals at the party, and you can send them in snail mail, and you can do it online through PayPal.
Thank you, Judith. Banquet tickets. Phil is going to say something.
Hi, I'm Phil, AB7RW. As usual, I'll be selling banquet tickets for our awards banquet. It's not held until February. But anyway, when I get the food information and the banquet tickets, I'll put information on the internet, and the tickets will be on sale. And keep in mind that we only have a limited number of tickets that I can sell. So first come, first serve.
Thank you, Phil. And Barbara, did you want to say something about Veterans Parade and Walk and Knock?
Okay. If there were anybody that would be willing to be a standby operator for, at this point, it's probably less than 20 hours. In case something happens to somebody that's currently signed up, come back and talk to me, and we'll see what we can do, because at this point I have everybody committed, and so that would be helpful. We are taking names for Walk and Knock, which is the 2nd of December, and now's the time to sign up. Because the Christmas party will be after Walk and Knock. So this is your chance to sign up live. Otherwise, you'll have to send email or do it on the website. So come on back and see me, and we'll get it done. Thanks.
Thank you, Barbara.
Rain gear for tomorrow, folks.
Yeah, it's supposed to rain all morning long. Then the weekly breakfast, don't forget that at Kitchen Table on 136th near Winco. The monthly lunch is going to be at the diner, which there's the address right there at 1 o'clock, and that's November 17th, which is a week from today. I've heard a lot about that restaurant, and it's supposed to be really good. And don't forget to get your t-shirts and your sweatshirts from Laura and Mark back there for Hip Ham shirts. And Ron, she wants to know who you are. Yes. Did I goof that? I goofed that up last month.
Yeah, it's 136th Avenue, and last month we were at the lunch was at the Kitchen Table on 134th Street. So,
Yeah. And I had 134th for the breakfast too. Somebody corrected me on that though, which I was really glad about. Yeah, Laura. Club sales. Okay, I'll change it for next month. The next one, can we change slides? Look at here for VOTA, out of the top 100 in Washington State, we've got 8 of them just out of our club alone. Tom Summers is number 8, Dave Cherubin, number 10, Wayne Schuler, 14, Delvin Button, 15, Bernd Peters is 20, Scott Shireman is 22, Phil Yassin, 49, and Rick Smith, 61. That is almost 10%, guys, just out of our club alone. I don't have any idea how many clubs there are in the state, but those are pretty good numbers. And the upcoming events, ARRL Sweepstake Contest SSB, November 18th to 20th. North American SSB Sprint Contest, November 12th. SARL, which is South Africa, Field Day Contest, November 18th and 19th. And CQ Worldwide DX Contest for CW is November 25th and 26th. You know, these events are getting less and less now as winter comes in and the holidays and all of that. So make use of some of those if you've got time. And James, the 50-50.
Before James gets started there, Phil asked me to mention something, and Marilyn just did this for the club. She entered our special service club information. And Phil's point, and I think it's really the walk and knock, all the VE sessions, the Veterans Parade, the Hazeldale Parade, all of these events that our club does and the classes. That's why we're a special service club, because of all these things we do. And as a club, I think we should give ourselves a little thank for that. And just remember that that's why many of us have our ham radio licenses to provide service to the community. So.
Again, there is so much that you can do with amateur radio, even so much you can do in this club alone. There's a lot going on with the club, from the nets to the meetings to the breakfasts and lunches to the different events that people are putting on. Get involved, get to know some of the people, and get to know how to use your radios. You'd be surprised how many people you meet on the radio that someday down the road you're going to run into them somewhere, and you're going to be blown away because you may have never seen them in person before, but you meet them on the radio. Okay, James.
Good evening. Just want to say thanks to all my fellow veterans out here. We all signed that blank check in the past, and we here today to thank the other veterans that follow us in our path. So thank you all. And hopefully they don't call us up here in the future. Don't laugh. It's getting close to conscription time again because we don't have volunteers. Okay, tonight, Floyd, KF7, I think it's MJY, has some spare batteries to give away. These are for the Bofang. If you need one, they're good. You can come by and pick it up. And also, I know you have a ticket, but I'm not going to pull yours. Tonight, the 50-50 is $62. And the first ticket drawn has the last four are 4935. 4935 for $62.
All right, congratulations.
And tonight's winner is Steve, N6 ADV. All right, sir. $62. And I've also checked that $2 bill to see if it was a good one. There you go. There you go. $2 bills have become a big deal now these days. One sold for $3,000, had a low serial number on it last week. And the new ones are strange too. So anyway, check your $2 bills. All right, that's all I have. And Madam President, the house is yours.
Congratulations, Steve. Go out to eat. Anyway, if you could help put your chairs away, we would really appreciate it. Drive carefully going home. And if you're able to, come out for the Veterans Day parade tomorrow. Yeah, James.